Dividing rational numbers follows the same rules as when we divided integers. If the numbers being divided have the same sign, you're going to get a positive answer. If they have different signs, you're going to get a negative answer. Now we know that a fraction represents a division problem. So if we put a negative sign right in the middle between the numerator and denominator, you have two choices. Either put the negative sign in the numerator or you can put it in the denominator. Do not put it in both the numerator and denominator. That would mean a positive answer. Quick reminder, when dividing by a decimal, you need to move the decimal in the divisor so it's a whole number. And when you divide by a fraction, you've got to use the reciprocal. You multiply by the reciprocal to get the final answer. We now need our examples graphic organizer. We had multiplication on the front. We need to flip it around so we can do several examples for division. In a fraction, the numerator becomes the dividend and the denominator becomes the divisor. And you want to change the divisor to a whole number, so you have to move it, in this case, one decimal place. You must do the same in the dividend before you can start dividing. So in the second example, you notice we have different signs, so we know our answer is going to be negative. And we set up the division, the denominator will become the divisor, which is 3, and we do not need to move the decimal point because it already is a whole number. So just proceed to divide and get your final answer, which again will be a negative. In the final example with dividing decimals, we're going to be dividing by a decimal number with 2 decimal places, so we have to move the decimal point 2 places in the divisor and also in the dividend. So we'll need to put some zeros in there and then proceed to divide. And since they're both positives, we're going to end up with a positive answer. And you notice we're going to end up with a repeating digit. So the final answer is going to be 133. And 3/10 is repeating. Now let's divide with fractions. Remember, we need to change this to multiplication, and you're going to use a reciprocal of the fraction being divided. Then we simplify before we multiply the numerators and denominators together, and we have different signs, so our answer ends up being a negative. In this example, we have to recognize that the 4/5 is being divided by 8. And 8 can be written as a fraction as 8 over 1. So we can change that to multiplying by the reciprocal of 1/8. Look to simplify and then multiply the numerators and denominators. In our final example, the negative sign, we just ignore that to start. We set the problem up as a division. We need to change the mixed number to an improper fraction and then multiply by the reciprocal of 3/8, which is 8/3. Simplify before you multiply, and then make sure your answer is simplified. We'll write this one as a mixed number. So what time is it now? Practice time. Do your best and use your notes.